Today, we're going under the hood of the global economy. We're going to look at the hidden machine that runs pretty much everything, the financial markets. Now, we all have an idea of how they're supposed to work, but what if that official story is fundamentally wrong?
So let me start by asking you a really simple question. When you hit the buy button on a stock, who actually makes money from that trade? I mean, the seller, obviously. Your broker probably takes a tiny cut. But the real answer, well, it pulls back the curtain on a hidden layer of the market that gets to the very core of what this whole machine has become. All right, first things first, let's talk about the official story. This is the version you probably learned in Econ 101, the textbook explanation for what markets are even for. It's called the efficient market hypothesis, or EMH for short. And the core idea is actually kind of beautiful. It says that markets are like these giant, unbelievably fast computers. They take in all the world's news, every report, every tweet, process it all instantly, and then spit out the one correct price for everything. So according to this worldview, the market's number one job is something called price discovery. It's all about information. A company has great earnings, the price goes up. A bad rumor starts to spread, the price goes down. It's simple, it's clean, and it's logical. But a pretty groundbreaking new thesis argues that this view isn't just incomplete. It's that we've been looking at the market all wrong. We've been focusing on the wrong thing this entire time. And that brings us to the central conflict here. The old view says markets are all about information. The new view, it says they're all about liquidity. This totally reframes the market. It's not a thinking brain anymore. It's more like a plumbing system, a system that moves money around, sure, but one that can also get dangerously clogged. And here's the core argument, right from the source. This thesis says that markets are, first and foremost, liquidity harvesting systems. Their main goal isn't just to find the right price. It's to let intermediaries, the middlemen, systematically pull value out of the simple act of trading. So this extraction machine, how does it actually work? Well, it all comes down to a really basic concept in trading that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. It is the bid-ask spread. You've seen it, that tiny little gap between the buy price and the sell price. This new theory says to stop thinking of it as just a cost and start seeing it as the fee for immediacy. You are literally paying a premium for the convenience of being able to trade right this second, and there is always somebody there to collect that fee. And this is where it gets really crucial. Just look at this table. On a normal day, that fee you pay is tiny, just a few basis points, which are just hundreds of a percent. But look what happens when the market gets volatile. That spread, that fee, it explodes. The intermediaries start charging you way, way more, right at the moment you're most desperate to buy or sell. So the real kicker is this. The theory argues that the traditional excuses for the spread, things like inventory risk, are really just justifications. They're a cover story. The primary function is extraction. It's a business model that is baked into the very architecture of our markets. Now, this isn't just some abstract theory. We see the proof of it when the system gets pushed to its absolute breaking point, when the entire machine grinds to a halt and liquidity completely vanishes. Which brings us to the infamous 2010 flash crash. For a few absolutely terrifying minutes on May 6th, the plumbing of the financial world completely, utterly, and totally seized up. So here's the play-by-play. It starts with one large sell order. But then the high-frequency traders, the new market makers, they don't absorb the selling. No. Instead, they start frantically selling to each other. Within minutes, all the real buyers are gone. Poof, liquidity evaporates, and prices just fall off a cliff until a critical 5-second pause lets the whole system catch its breath and reboot. So just how bad did it get? At the absolute low point of the crash, shares of Accenture, a massive, stable, global company, were trading for 1 cent. Think about that. The company's value didn't change in a few minutes. This wasn't about news. This was a catastrophic failure of the market's plumbing. Investigators gave this a name, and it's perfect. The hot potato phenomenon. The computers were just passing the risk to each other so fast that it created this mirage of activity. It looked like billions of shares were trading, but nobody was actually willing to hold the stock. It was all motion, zero substance. And that's what allowed the market to shatter. Okay, so this isn't just a story about one weird afternoon back in 2010. This liquidity-focused view forces us to completely rethink what a financial crisis even is.
It's a phenomenon that's been called the liquidity spiral. It starts with an initial shock hitting the market. That causes volatility to rise, which makes things feel risky. So the market makers, the ones providing the liquidity, they pull back to protect themselves. Well, now anyone who needs to sell is forced to take lower and lower prices. And of course, those falling prices just cause more panic, which leads to the final step, a full-blown systemic cascade. It's just a vicious self-feeding cycle.
And here is why this matters to every single one of us. Systemic risk isn't just about one big bank going bankrupt. It's about the interconnected plumbing of the entire market seizing up. It's the risk that everybody needs to head for the exit at the exact same time and discovers there's no one left to buy. Which leaves us with a final and pretty unsettling thought. If you accept this view of the world, then these crises aren't rare accidents. They are predictable features of a system built on liquidity that can disappear in an instant. The question then isn't if the next crisis is going to happen, but whether the hidden machine that runs our world is actually built to survive it.